Hey there. One of the most common topics of discussions that come in the context of entrepreneurship or success in the business world is the role that luck has to play in that said success. One of the most common sayings is that, hey, as long as you work hard, you put in the time, you're passionate about it, you put your blood, sweat, and tears into something, you will eventually become lucky. People do interviews of successful people and they ask that question, what is the impact according to you that luck has had? And the most common answer is that, hey, I've basically worked hard, and so that luck had very little to do with what I did, because of the fact that I woke up at 4 a.m. every day, because I worked out every day, because I worked hard, I hustled, and so I deserve what I received. And that's generally the common theme of people who have succeeded, and it is generally used to motivate people as well, where they say that, hey, look at this person, athlete, celebrity, entrepreneur, whoever he or she is. They say that, look at this person, they deserve it because they worked hard. Let's take an example of Tom Brady. People say that, he's the most successful footballer in the world. He has achieved all these successes, 7 or 8 rings, how many ever, 8 Super Bowl rings, how many ever he must have gained, is because he has a strict regiment, is because he takes care of himself even though he's on the older side, and that's why he has achieved all this success. But what I feel is that people often underestimate the impact that luck has had on their success. There was a interview with one of the most successful entrepreneurs of all time, a lot of entrepreneurs, and then the common theme that came was that they were asked the question, hey, if you were to do everything all over again, if you were to um, if everything were to be taken away from you, would you be able to be as, if not more successful than you are, knowing what you know? And the reluctant answer that they received was that no, it's just because the person who was talking was at the right place at the right time was the reason that they were able to succeed. And another example that kind of comes up pretty often is the fact that sports people or successful athletes are extremely superstitious. Everyone from Patrick Mahomes to Tom Brady or any sports, even in the Indian cricket team or the most successful players, they have their favorite bats, their favorite shots, their favorite rituals that they do before they enter into a game, because they strongly feel that those rituals, even though they may not be grounded in logic, is the deciding factor in their success. So much so that even the best athletes in the world don't think that it is purely their skills or the hard work or the training that results in their success, and that they have to resort to all these things, or in their mind they have to they are aware of the fact that there is a lot of things not in their control that may yield all their hard work as being a waste, or does not yield the results that they hope. Even in the world of entrepreneurship, there are a lot of successful startups. There are even more startups that have not succeeded. They've run out of money, the product was not good, or they have been bought up or overtaken by competitors. And so when people look at entrepreneurs, they often judge the success of an entrepreneur based on how well the startup did, or as opposed to how much effort, time, or the blood and sweat that the entrepreneur has given. But I think that's that's a very short-sighted approach. For example, it's a very well-known fact that if an entrepreneur has succeeded, has had a successful exit, that means they have the tendency to be able to succeed again. That means they are able to raise funds again, because investors like investing in founders who have had successful startups. So that means that in their head, just because they've succeeded once, the probability of them succeeding again is higher. And I just cannot imagine that to be true, because just because they got lucky once does not mean that they will be lucky again, or they highly underestimate the value of luck that has the role that has played in their lives. I think one of the reasons why the fact that luck has a lot to play in the success of a person has been downplayed is because it perhaps makes people feel that they have even lesser control in their lives. It may be demotivates people from working hard, pushing themselves, putting themselves out of their comfort zone. If someone drives in the idea that no matter how much you work, unless you get lucky, it does not mean squat, it does not mean anything, and it is truly demotivating. But in my opinion, I think I share a slightly different perspective, where you definitely need to appreciate the role that luck has had to play in whatever you have achieved, in the very fact that you're healthy, happy, and you are moving towards a direction. Luck has had a huge impact to play. In fact, I would call it 99% of it was luck, and that 1% was being in the right place at the right time, working hard, being positive, not giving up, all these other factors, which are the foundations for any person who is hoping to achieve something. Now, you might look around and say that, hey, that startup founder is a lazy person, and even then, that person has succeeded. And on the other hand, hey, I know this person who works day in and day out, and still he's not able to achieve something. What people miss out in that aspect, I believe, is the fact that nothing is permanent, everything is transient. Just because things are going well for you at a particular point does not mean that it will continue to do well, because of all these externalities that you have no control over. And vice versa, just because things are bad, just because things are not going according to you, just because things may seem bleak, does not mean that that will continue. I think that should be the motivating factor for any person who is ambitious or who wishes to achieve more than what people expect of them to do. So the fact that even though things are not moving, even though things are cloudy, even though the future path seems very, very, very strenuous, just the belief that as long as they keep working hard, they keep doing at it, the times will change. The times will definitely change, no matter how hard you try. And hence, just having that gratefulness and the lack of entitlement, I think, is a good mindset to have, for especially for entrepreneurs, where they're so grateful for everything that has happened to them, that people have supported them, people have liked them, the environment around them has enabled them to achieve whatever they have been able to achieve. I think that sense of gratefulness should always remain. And I think that having that knowledge that there are externalities that you have no control over, despite all that, if you're a good person, you're kind, you trust people, you are a trustworthy person, you are a hardworking individual with integrity, I think that should eventually, even if things may not look great, you will eventually lead to a path that is fulfilling and what you would consider to be successful.